What's happening, troops? Hope you're all doing really well. Today, I'd like to try and tell you about why I love the Demon's Souls remake. So to do that, we're going to have to go all the way back to the year 2012. Back then, I worked at McDonald's, which was in, luckily for me, a shopping centre. Every time I got paid, you better believe I was stopping by the GameStop in the shopping centre, checking out the new releases and pre-owned games. Now at that time, I was looking at games like Divinity, Overlord, Risen 2, and a few others. But none of these really took my interest all that much. So as I was browsing the pre-owned shelf, I stumbled upon a game called Dark Souls. Now from just looking at the box art, and then looking at the back and reading Prepare to Die, I guess I was sold. Although however, I didn't really know what I was getting myself in for. And here we are, 11 years later, and we're still playing it. So, I got home, I fired the game up, beat the tutorial, and went straight down into the catacombs. And you better believe I turned it off and didn't turn it back on. Luckily for me though, I worked with someone in McDonald's who just happened to be a Dark Souls, Demon's Souls and Dragon's Dogma expert. Now I've tried to find this guy on social media recently because I haven't spoke to him in I'd say 10 plus years. I just wanted to tell him how much these games have meant to me over the years and thank him for all that he did for me, especially now after completing Demon's Souls. However, I couldn't find him anywhere online, so that left me kinda sad. I hoped maybe one day you'll stumble upon this video and you'll realise the impact he had on me. So he told me, Catacombs is the wrong way to go, my man, you gotta go up instead. And after that, my whole Dark Souls experience changed. Now I'd played games like Drakengard, Oblivion, Skyrim and Dynasty Warriors in the past, and what these games had taught me is that button mashing is always the way to go. However, Dark Souls totally turned that on its head. It's the first game ever where I realised that my shield was my best friend. Not only that, it's one of the first games ever to conjure real fear inside me when I'm playing it. Fear and anxiety in its purest form. Now that might sound like a bad thing, especially coming from me, a pro noob gamer that only plays games for fun and not for the challenge. Don't get me wrong, reaching a bonfire and then having to progress again was always terrifying, but that's what I enjoyed so much about the game, because no other game had ever made me feel that way. I'm not gonna lie to you, it took me the best part of 2.5 years to beat the original Dark Souls, and that's mostly because of Ornstein and Small. Now I would also like to mention that at the time my bedroom was so far away from the internet that I couldn't play anything online, so I had to do Dark Souls completely solo. And I think that's why ONS took me so long, but still it didn't dampen my experience at all. I just kept coming back to keep dying again and again. Fast forward a couple of years, I'm having a shot at Dark Souls again, and my little brother comes down into my room and asks for a shot as well. And when he encountered that first Black Knight, to see the same fear in him that I saw in myself was truly wonderful. He threw the controller down and didn't want to play. And just to see that, yeah, it made me so happy. So then I moved country and I decided to buy Dark Souls 2. However, at this time in my life, I didn't own my own PlayStation, it was shared, and I also didn't have that much time to commit to gaming as I used to have, so I never made it past the first area in Dark Souls 2, which is a shame to say. But don't worry, I'm going to go back to it, we're going to play it on stream, I'm going to give it the chance it deserves. So fast forward again, I've got my own apartment, and I have my own games console. And it just so happens that my ex-girlfriend's brother was a Souls nerd too, which is awesome. He gave me his copy of Bloodborne and I was in love again. Bloodborne also introduced me to a couple of YouTubers that I hadn't seen in the past, mainly Epic Name Bro and Vate Vidya, two channels that I still watch to this day. Bloodborne also introduced me to H.P. Lovecraft, but hey, that's a long story for another day. After completing Bloodborne though, gaming took a backseat again for work, music and other life stuff. So after a while I decided to move back to my home country and I had some more time for gaming again. At this point I'd had my YouTube channel for a couple of years, but I'd only ever uploaded music to it, and I decided now I was going to start uploading gameplays. Some of those gameplays just happened to be Dark Souls tutorials and boss fights. Little did I know, a couple of years later I'd be streaming Dark Souls on my channel. After completing it, I had a few thoughts on myself. I was thinking, why do I love these games so much? Why is it 11 years later I'm still playing through Dark Souls again? New Game Plus Plus. And I think it is because of the feelings it gave me the first time I played it all those years ago. So a couple of months ago now, I was looking on the PSN store and I stumbled across the one and only Demon's Souls remake. And I thought to myself, yeah, I'll download it. I'll put myself through some more pain to experience the game that started it all. Now, I know it's not the game that started it all. It's not the original, and I can understand why people don't like the remake. They changed a lot of the music, they changed a lot of the character designs. I feel the same way about the Metal Gear Solid remake, Twin Snakes. I'm never going to play it, and it might sound silly, but it's because the voice acting is different. Yeah, the voice actors are the same, but because I've played the original so many times, I have it ingrained into my head the way they say all the lines. So yeah, it sounds silly, but I'm never going to play the remake for that reason, because the voice lines are different. I can understand why people won't play the remake. However, I do feel that is a disservice against Bluepoint, because you can really tell that they did love the source material and they have poured their heart and soul into making this remake, and it truly does shine. Although, hearing myself say that just now, I should probably take a dose of my own medicine and give Twin Snakes a shot. Anyways, I downloaded it and I started my journey. I think one of the reasons, I'm going to try my best to tell you guys here, I've never been good at articulating myself, but I'm going to try. I think one of the reasons why I love Demon's Souls so much is because it reminds me so much of my first Dark Souls experience. The fear of not knowing where I'm going, the fear of maybe not making it to the next Archstone, and losing all that progress and souls that I fought so hard for. When I played Dark Souls, the story pretty much went over my head. I had to look up lore videos to understand what was going on. And again, it was the same with Demon's Souls, but that didn't take away from my experience at all, because the gameplay is just so good. Demon's Souls also looks simply stunning on the PS5. The graphics are amazing. Now, that's not something I'm ever really fussed about. You know me, I play emulators, I like to play retro games, but that's one of the things that really drew me in, how beautiful this game looks. The map designs as well are another thing to rave about. Now, one of the main reasons I don't like Elden Ring, I've got nothing against Elden Ring by the way, it totally is a fantastic game and I loved the combat in it. It's just a great way to advance the series overall. But my main reason for not playing Elden Ring is because of how vast it is. At this day and age, I need a more linear experience because I don't have as much time as I would like. Now, the maps in Demon's Souls are like mazes, but they are also linear. It's so easy to get lost in them. I really don't have words to describe how great the atmosphere is in these maps. It's so easy to get lost in a great way. And I can see that Demon's Souls had influenced so many Soulsborne games moving forward. But it's the fear mostly, and the pure raw and joy of excitement of not knowing what's coming ahead. Plus, the combat is always fantastic in these games, so. And again, just nostalgia, I think, taking me back to that first experience I had with the original Dark Souls. So I would say, if you're a fan of the Soulsborne games, don't be afraid to try the Demon's Souls remake. I understand that people say play the original, but it's not so easy to play the original anymore. I don't know if it's available on Steam or the PSN store, I don't imagine it is. And yeah, there's always emulators. I play emulators, but at the end of the day, no matter how good emulators are, they don't always run at 100%, and when you're playing a Souls game, you need it to run at 100% or you're not going to have a nice time. Now yeah, it has its flaws. A lot of the bosses are more gimmicky than skill based, and there's a few other things as well, but the sum of its parts is greater than the whole. And I think, again, if you're a Souls enjoyer, you will really enjoy this game. I enjoyed it to the extent that I was almost tearing up at the end because I didn't want the experience to be over. Now that very rarely happens to me with games, didn't even happen with the first Dark Souls. So that should be a testament to how good this game is. So, in conclusion, in my personal opinion, Demon's Souls Remake is fantastic. You'll always get haters, you'll always get purists, that's just the way the world works. Again, if you're a Souls enjoyer, I would highly recommend picking this game up to experience where the whole series franchise started. So yeah, I just want to thank you for spending your time in this video if you have. I know it's just been me rambling again, but I truly really had a fantastic time with this game. It has left a profound impact on me, and I will certainly go back to New Game Plus sooner rather than later. So yeah, thank you everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I've inspired you to try out Demon's Souls. That's going to do it for me for now. Take care, and I'll hopefully see you again soon. Bye.